Welcome to Ion Franchising, where you will learn the A to Z's of franchising. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another great episode of Ion Franchising. Today is, call it a special edition. It's Pride Month, and I have two absolute powerhouses of marketing. They're both chief marketing officers of one of my favorite, probably my favorite fitness company. I don't know if I'm supposed to have favorites. Xponential Fitness. So welcome to the show, Nate Chang and Martin Balcaitis. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Lance. Thanks for having us.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. So Nate, you first. Let's hear from you. How the heck did you get into franchising? I always find it fascinating how people even got into franchising. Both of you, I read up on you, and both of you have some great experience in franchising, even before Xponential Fitness. So I'd love to hear it. Nate, you first.
Oh, man, way to tee up my aging. All right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have been in the franchise industry for quite some time. Actually started on the QSR fast food side of things, working for a brand called Del Taco. Actually started my career there, climbing the ladder. That was a hybrid concept of a corporate / franchise organization, and really leaped over to that franchise side of things. So from there, I mean, I've been in the industry almost, crazy to say, 20 years. But, started on the food side of things. I've always had a passion for fitness. I'm also a big foodie at heart. And as I got older, the excuses of being able to eat whatever you want and not gain weight actually started to remove themselves. And I realized I had to start working out more. So fortunately, especially in the marketing industry, once you kind of get settled in a certain type of industry, it's kind of hard to jump over to a different type of concept. And I was luckily enough able to have an opportunity to get into the fitness side of things. I've been doing it probably for almost like the last 10 years. And here I am now with Xponential Fitness, leading the charge of the yoga industry. So
awesome. So where did marketing come into your life? How did that happen?
That is a funny question, actually, because, when I went to school for business economics. Actually, when I was starting up in high school, I thought I was going to be an architect. And then coincidentally, when I graduated from college, started working with Del Taco. It was a very small niche, like house business type of thing. So you pretty much wore a lot of hats. And from there, had the opportunity really to start getting integrated with the marketing department. They clearly saw something of talent from me and offered me, that coordinator role that I think we've all started at when we are young in our career. Yep. And fortunately enough, had learned, all the responsibilities and was able to grow with a lot of opportunities in my future. So.
Awesome. All right, Martin, same question. How did you get here, and how'd you fall into marketing? How'd you fall into franchising?
Sure thing. I was fresh out of college and looking for a job. And probably the same thing that when you are talking to, prospective franchisees, it's follow your passion, right? And I was a waiter all through college, and it was the best job I ever had. I love the restaurant industry. So I looked for marketing jobs. I knew I wanted to do marketing, but I was really passionate about, waiting tables and being in the restaurant industry. So I actually started my career working for a franchisee. So I worked for the largest Krispy Kreme franchisee in Los Angeles. Took them from 22 to 31 locations in just under 2 years. And then I stayed in the restaurant industry.
Really? So who was that? Rich Reines?
It was Rich Reines and Roger Glickman.
Roger Glickman. I saw that you had Krispy Kreme on your resume. I was part of the group. There was two of us. I was a partner in Krispy Kreme for Nevada and Utah. We were the second franchisees.
Oh, wow.
So we'll talk offline about that. I saw Krispy Kreme in your past. That's amazing. Yeah, I worked for Great Circle Family Foods, and it was fantastic. And that's where, you get to learn how to deal with those evil marketing guys from corporate as on the franchisee side. And then I became the evil marketing guy from corporate, went to work for Baja Fresh and, some big brands. I was at Denny's for about 4.5 years. I was in field marketing. And then this crazy opportunity came from Xponential Fitness. And actually when I was interviewing, our Anthony, our founder CEO, didn't even
own the brand yet, but knew that he needed some marketing folks. And unlike Nate, fitness is not my passion. I'm the heaviest one in the building, but I took a leap and I went and I got a stretch at StretchLab up in Santa Monica, and I got off the bench and I said, I can sell this. People need this in their life. So it's been an absolute blessing and a joy for the past 4.5 years to be able to kind of grow this brand. And I was nervous leaving the restaurant industry, right? Would my skills be applicable? Would they transfer over? And at the end of the day, it's inspiring trial. It's helping people be better. And it's been a really rewarding experience.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You guys are both great. This is great stuff. So when we talk about franchising, I, as a franchise broker, I hear from people all the time, well, why should I get a franchise? And I always start off by saying, well, do you have an original idea that needs to be born? And as chief marketing officers, you certainly know that in most cases, people do not. And where people really get into trouble is putting that round peg in a square hole, where they decide there's a need that needs to be born and there really isn't a need. So I say a franchise is certainly amazing, and you don't have to do all the heavy lifting. Someone's already proven this for you, or proven it out and created the system. So where you guys sit, tell me a little bit about, I guess you could say, the why of marketing, or specifically franchising, because marketing is a huge piece of why you get involved in a franchise. Imagine having a stretch lab or a yoga studio of your own, in your own name brand, and you're attempting to compete with an Xponential brand and the resources that you have. So talk a little bit about that. Some people don't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is hard to kind of be a mom and pop and try to do it on your own. And opportunity with the franchising in general is, it is a proven out business model. For the marketing aspect, Mara and I really are driving strategy and more so structure for our franchise owners to be able to have like a focus. There's so many things you're doing all at once. And honestly, sometimes the last thing that people forget to do is the marketing aspect. But, with us here, with our team, and truthfully, in my opinion, the marketing team is really the support system for franchisees, but also for the infrastructure of all of our departments in our corporation. So it's building that brand consistency, driving that brand alignment, and making sure that, all cylinders are firing at the same time, speaking that same language, the touch, the feel, the look, the concept, all that stuff. So it really is being voiced as loud as possible when we're starting to get into new markets, existing markets, and truthfully just educating consumers into the product of what it is. So that's really being attracted and responded to be like, yes, I want to go there. So.
Wow. That's very well said. A lot of good stuff. Martin, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, the marketing aspect of franchising is just that incredible support that you get, but then also from a consumer standpoint, right? So it takes a special person like Nate or myself to really understand what the consumer needs to hear and how to craft that message and the different creative solutions that we will come up with. Whereas if you try to, and we've seen it happen, right? Where people will try to go out and do this thing on their own and think they say, oh, I can do this. This looks easy. And unfortunately, they fail because they don't have that structure in place. And you're spinning a lot of plates as a franchise owner, as an individual studio owner, and having that marketing support and having someone who truly understands how to craft that messaging and the creative solutions to get to those potential consumers is really important.
Yeah, and it's really important. Everyone out there seems to have an idea that starting the business is always the hardest thing, especially not knowing what you don't know and what you in fact really do know. And I know that Xponential, all of the brands, you guys seem to have a pretty darn good pre-opening plan, whether it's pre-selling. Talk a little bit about that support and what you do for the respective brands. Martin, you first this time.
Sure thing. We're really lucky. We have StretchLab in that we can take the show on the road. So we will grab a couple massage tables, grab a couple flexologists. And if your listeners don't know, StretchLab is a one-on-one assisted stretching concept. So, we can go to another fitness establishment. We can go to a concert in the park. We can go to a farmer's market and get people on the bench. I train all my GMs and franchisees that it's about booties on benches. That's what you got to do. We can do all the creative marketing tactics. We can talk until we're blue in the face about the benefits of assisted stretching, but they got to get some booties on benches. So during our pre-sale activities, we will generate those prospects and leads, communicate with them, and then set up a ton of different pop-up events. We're a new modality for a lot of people. I had never heard about assisted stretching 5 years ago. A lot of people haven't heard about this, or they think it's a service that's reserved for elite athletes, right? So we stretch anywhere from, 9-year-old competitive cheerleaders to grandmothers of 4, right? And everybody needs to stretch more. So it really is about, communicating those benefits to all walks of life during pre-sale and letting people know this is going to be a fantastic service and getting them to try it. So we try to inspire trial a lot during that pre-sale activities. And we, offer memberships at a discount. We're a monthly membership model. So we're paying for people's patients and we'll give them a little bit of a discount. And then we open up our studios with really nice, healthy numbers.
Yeah, I'm glad you also defined what StretchLab is. I know you said it so perfectly. Of course, you're the chief marketing officer. The reality is when I first heard of StretchLab and I heard of StretchLab's success, it made perfect sense because I was an athlete. I still tend to be. But I know that elite athletes, to your exact point, get stretched, either before during training, before the major event, whatever it might be, after, obviously, the cold plunge, the heat. It's part of that, whole shtick, if you will. So it is obviously needed, and I'm glad it's made it to the masses now. So thank you for that. All right, Nate, same type of question. First of all, go ahead and define YogaSix. I mean, obviously it's a yoga studio, but obviously it's a little different.
Yeah, we definitely are a more modern concept. And truthfully, we're breaking the stereotype on what people consider yoga or just the word yoga to be, right? There's a lot of intimidation, a lot of stereotypes of the concept around the yoga industry. And truthfully, we are a concept that is meant to be accessible for everyone. So there's so many health and wellness benefits, both mentally and physically, when it comes to having yoga part of, your day-to-day life. I always make the joke, like, we're like that side salad. It's like any great steak entree or what indulgence you like to have. But in this sense, you have to have that healthy intake to kind of make yourself feel better about what you decide to do. And that truthfully is what we are. We're taking yoga into this new modern light. And, similar to how Martin does pre-sale, our strategies are very similar in ways, but, obviously, we don't have asses on benches, but we, are definitely doing pop-up events and starting to, get ourselves into the local communities, educating all those consumers to help understand that, if you never thought that yoga is something that you could do potentially before, actually give us a shot. We have 6 different types of classes, and it's meant to be able to have people feel comfortable and at least one of them, right? We can level people up. If they start to want to have a little bit more challenge, they can level them down when maybe they say it's a little too challenging for them. It's really being able to get more consumers understanding that what you may have thought yoga was is not necessarily actually what it is in this day and age for us. So,
yeah, and yoga and stretching have never been hotter. I mean, fitness is so important, and people are starting to realize that. And Martin, it's funny how you said it. I mean, there are so many people that want to be either more fit or, more pliable for stretching purposes and what have you. And it's tough. It's you have to create a habit out of it. Any secret sauce to that? Or I should ask Nate that question, probably, right, Martin?
I mean,
get a membership. I call StretchLab. I call stretching. We're kind of the flossing of the fitness industry. I know I need to do it every day. I lie to people about how much I do it. And wouldn't it be easier just to pay someone to do it for me? That's why StretchLab's here.
I love that. The flossing of the fitness industry.
You know it's good for you, but you don't do it enough.
Yep. Nate, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I'm definitely guilty of maybe not recovering as much as I should, but between stretching and yoga, I'm able to get it accomplished every now and then. So
yeah, that's awesome. So you guys and your marketing teams work with franchisees. So what do you see? What is so many people listening to this are interested in a business. They don't even know if a franchise is right for them or which franchise. That's why they work with a broker, let's say like me. But as they're listening to you guys, they want to understand, well, how do I know if an Xponential brand is right for me? So assuming they have, a few bucks, there are SBA loans obviously available, and you guys have great lenders and relationships. So how do they know? And more importantly, why is an Xponential brand right for somebody that, let's talk about a new entrepreneur for that matter.
Yeah, I guess I can go first. Honestly, I've been with Xponential now for 4 years. Martin came on before me, but really when I came on board, I really saw the collaboration across the entire Xponential family. So it's proven business models. We definitely are working for success for all our franchise owners. Obviously, if they fail, we fail too, and that is not why we're in the business. So we really are holding them by the hand, making sure that they feel comfortable, and going along the journey with them. It's amazing to see how much we've grown, how much success there has been. And that truthfully is because we care. So, with everything that we do with our franchise owners, I kind of say that, I don't have children personally, but I don't think I ever need to when I work for a franchise organization, because all these people are my children, and I obviously want them to win and be successful at the end of the day. So
I love it. I love that attitude too. Martin, your turn.
Coming to work for Xponential and just seeing how Xponential has grown. StretchLab was, the third or fourth brand that we acquired. And the amount of training, support, and collaborative brain share that goes on in the Xponential building is truly inspiring and really beneficial for a franchise owner. We do leverage the economies of scale really well of having more than 2,000 studios worldwide. And we're able to, what that does is it affords us to partner with some really world-class organizations where a brand Nate and I's size wouldn't be able to touch for a few more years, right? So it's a really fantastic support system. And I've worked for, TGI Fridays, for Denny's, for Wendy's, some really big iconic brands. And Xponential truly is the leader in understanding that a franchise owner's success is our success. And we will do anything possible. As StretchLab continued to grow from a marketing standpoint, I never had anything that wasn't negotiable. I'm not the one who is in these studios every day, who's executing the marketing programs, who is dealing with consumers, who is having those interactions, right? So I learn a lot from my franchise owners. Nothing's precious. Everything is up for discussion. We started our brand advisory council a few years ago, and that's been a really wonderful thing to have those boots on the ground, those eyes and ears out there to help educate me and help me make sure that everything that leaves my desk is really easy to execute and drives the right response.
That was actually my next question is when you guys, I think you both mentioned collaboration at this point. When it comes to that, some people are concerned that if I get into a franchise, they don't have to listen to me or they don't want to listen to me. And I always tell people, I said, look, at McDonald's, the filet of fish was invented by a franchisee that gave it to corporate and said, we need to have some sort of fish on Fridays. And it ended up being a permanent menu item. So it sounds like you're having a regular, you mentioned brand advisory council. I've heard it called, franchise advisory council, but obviously on the marketing front. So do you do that for both brands? I mean, Nate, you're doing that as well?
Yeah, I call my organization the Marketing Fun Committee. So, we try to have a spin on it, but absolutely, it really is about hearing from the franchisees. And truthfully, some of, our best brand strategies for YogaSix have come from the franchisees. The more we listen to them, the more they feel comfortable and obviously following the play, so to speak, or really, supporting one another. If we're all speaking the same language, especially when it comes to brand consistency, franchisees definitely need to feel like they have a piece of the pie. And, we are definitely here to listen. And every market's going to be a little bit different. So we can't just replicate, especially considering that we're in California. We have locations all across the country now. But truthfully, it's making sure that there is obviously a focus of a voice, but then being able to localize that. So the proper consumer consumers in each market can truthfully be able to understand exactly why they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, you just brought up a great point, which can make franchising very powerful. If you have a certain brand that started, let's say, in California, the marketing departments have to be very much in tune to, well, why would it work in Kansas City? I know it works in California, but it's different here. So I'm sure you guys are really tied to demographics and constantly understanding who is our customer, because I hear it all the time from prospective franchisees. Oh, I wouldn't do that in my area because there's too much competition, or there's too much this, or we don't have the customer base. And I love how prospective franchisees, they honestly think they know. And I said, look, in the process of selecting a franchise, as you're talking to a brand, you ask the questions. If you don't feel comfortable that they've answered sufficiently, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't. But the larger brands definitely have it all figured out because they've been there, done that. I mean, what do you see as you've grown out brands? I mean, now Xponential has 10 brands. I had to look it up to remind myself. I was thinking it was 9, but it's 10.
We tend to forget too.
Yeah, there's always another one. So as you guys, as chief marketing officers, you've had an opportunity to watch some brands or do it yourselves. You're not watching from the sidelines, you're on the field. But I would imagine it's a hands-on deck sort of approach. Like BFT is a new brand of yours. So I'm assuming there's a lot of cross collaboration amongst the brands as well, right?
There sure is. All the CMOs, we get together every month and just kind of have a little powwow and pick each other's brains. They're really productive meetings where we're talking about best practices. We have access to a shared platform that kind of shows our digital results by brand. And we all use that a lot, right? So if there's a certain market where like, gosh, I'm not getting some, my leads are coming in really expensive. Let me check to see if it's a market thing, if it's a StretchLab thing, how is that YogaSix performing? And so we'll really bounce ideas off of each other. And as we, grew StretchLab, from a, hey, will this work in Omaha kind of a place, I was super nervous. When I joined, we had 3 locations in Los Angeles, very successful locations, but in LA, you can pay anybody to do anything for you. And we built our own studio in Orange County that was successful, but here in Orange County, there's a lot of people with too much time and too much money. But then we opened up in Idaho, and then we opened up in New Jersey, and then we opened up in Plymouth, Minnesota in the dead of winter. And we really proved out this concept, right? Where, people's bodies are broken across the globe, and StretchLab is here to help you. Do we have to change things regionally? Absolutely. We'll look at the different consumers. We'll look at what's hitting, what's not. And that's where a lot of collaboration between Nate and all the other CMOs, we will really talk about those different challenges across the country and different tactics that we're deploying, right? That we're testing and bring those to the table. Yes, we are competitive. There's a healthy competition between the brands, but the CMOs have a really nice network where we're never holding anything back. And hey, if this is working for me, don't tell anybody else. We don't have that attitude. We just want to make sure that all boats are rising with the tide.
I love it. And what you were describing, I always refer to prospects. I talk about proof of concept. Mm-hmm. If your comfort level is such that you don't want a new brand that maybe only has 3 locations in LA, you have the option of waiting and hoping nobody else takes your territory. But, people always tend to want the next McDonald's. And I said, well, don't wait too long. You might not have a territory left. Yeah,
absolutely. Our early franchisees were lucky in that they, got the best territories available, but they came with us on this journey of, hey, trust us, right? And they're doing the same thing during pre-sale of, hey, get on this bench for 15 minutes. I promise you're going to love a 50-minute stretch. I promise you're going to love our studio. Can I have, $250 today? And I promise we're going to be open in 7 weeks. So we were doing the same thing of, I swear this thing will work and will make you money. And it took some, evaluating and some changes from a marketing standpoint to get us here, but it's been a really fantastic journey. And we'll open up our 200th studio this week.
I love it. 200. I can't believe it. And Nate, How many YogaSixes right now?
Actually, yesterday in celebration of International Yoga Day, we actually opened our 150th location.
150. Jeez, you guys are growing like crazy. I love it. I love it. Love it. So let's talk a little bit about the pandemic. The pandemic, and it's, I mean, it's the obvious issue that happened in the world, and in the world of franchising. It was interesting because you guys obviously had limited control, but you got pretty creative. I heard about the online content. So talk a little bit about that. Who wants to go first on that?
I mean, I'll shoot. Sure. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely an interesting time. What turned into a month turned into 2 years of shutdown in some circumstances. But yeah, that's really where we really do need to support our franchisees in its largest form. I mean, it was amazing to see how well our franchisees responded to the situation. And another fun joke I like to say is that actually we created the pandemic, and that's why our on-demand platform exists in the way it does, because we really did lean on Xponential Plus to be able to favor towards our members, keep people activated in regards to doing yoga. Obviously, especially when you're locked down in your home, you need more fitness activity or more mental stimulation in any way possible. So it was a huge opportunity for us to continue driving memberships, have that as a value opportunity for people to do on-demand classes for free. And it was a great way to keep all of our members engaged. And it was amazing to see, honestly, that we actually grew exponentially, no pun intended there, but during a pandemic where a lot of people were closing down, we were actually growing faster in scale considering everything that was going on during the pandemic.
So people were given access. If you were a member of any Xponential brand, you were given access to this online platform, and you could actually take classes at a different different Xponential brand. So if you were a YogaSix member, you could take a StretchLab class or anything else for that matter. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was awesome to be able to really expose how Xponential was as a whole consumer standpoint. It was a family organization from different modalities. I was definitely doing some stretching every now and then, doing yoga as well too. Even doing some dancing every now and then as well too to psych it up, all those things like that. So that's
awesome. Martin?
Yeah, it was a challenging time. For 2 years prior, we were telling people you can't do this on your own. You need to come into a studio and get this one-on-one assisted stretch. So when we had to pivot, right? I had said pivot about 17 million times during this during the pandemic, and we provided this on-demand service. We're really helping people virtually. My studios got incredibly creative and did virtual one-on-one stretches. Right, would lead group stretches in an outdoor setting where people miss their flexologist and getting stretch is a really personal, intimate thing, right? Where you're working one-on-one and you're opening up your body, and we're trying to, really, treat your body like a puzzle, and how do we fix you and how do we make you a better person leaving the studio? So it was difficult. It was really not a fun time for our studios and for our flexologists. But what was really inspiring was opening back up. We were nervous. We are a high touch environment. And would people be willing to come back into the studio? And just like Nate, we grew during the pandemic, right? We sold franchises. We opened up studios. We started pre-sale. And as we opened up, people were clamoring to come back into StretchLab. That to me was the biggest validation of the concept that yes, this is a modality that I didn't know about previous to my local StretchLab opening. And then now that you are closed, I cannot wait to come back because this is what I need for my body. So it was a really nice validation of the concept. And we are, blowing way past all of our pre-pandemic numbers from a sales and membership standpoint. So it's been really nice and refreshing.
I'm getting an image of the average individual, including myself, that was balled up on the couch for a period of time. And
yes, and myself, I was working at home on my dining room table, and and it was horrible on my shoulder. I wasn't at the right height, and so I was doing stretching, and I was hypervolting our percussion massage device that we use inside the studios, and I could not wait to get a stretch. yeah, we were all more sedentary. And then on the flip side, there were people, right, whose gym was locked down. So they started running again. They started cycling again. They started doing more activity, and their body wasn't prepped for it. So on both ends of that spectrum, right, people who, started just doing their own CrossFit in the garage, way too much. We helped everybody at StretchLab.
Yeah, it was definitely an awful time. And especially that first 30 days when the lockdown started happening, depending on what state you were in, everybody was like frozen. Like they had no idea. I was calling friends and family across the country, were like, is this really happening? Like, how long is this going to last? What is it? Wait, our stores or gyms are closing, salons are closing. It's not an essential business. What's that? It was crazy. But obviously, Xponential did a nice job supporting their franchisees as well as they can. And obviously, in most cases, it certainly worked through an awful period of time. So my hat's off to you guys. So let's talk about Pride Month. What does Pride Month mean to you guys? So let's talk about that a little bit. Who wants to go first?
I can. Pride Month is special, dear to me, right? I'm a proud member of the LGBTQ Alliance, and it's an opportunity for us to remind our consumers that we are inclusive and everybody deserves a stretch, and our studios are open and supportive of the LGBTQ community. And it's something where, it's a little bittersweet. As a gay man, I enjoy Pride Month and I think it's great. But nothing warms my heart when I see marketing or I see communication around being open to the gay community or supporting the gay community when it's not Pride Month. And it's a year-long initiative, right? That representation does matter. To me, it helps. And it just really, from a franchising standpoint, we want to make sure that we represent all groups, right? So we do take the opportunity during Pride Month to really highlight that, and it's been fun to be able to support my studios, to support my franchisees, and it helps from I have LGBTQ franchisees as well as employees in every single studio, right? So for them to understand that this company and this franchise organization supports them, supports their community, and welcomes them into the studios, it goes a long way.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. Mr. Nate?
Yeah, definitely echo a lot of everything that Martin said. It definitely is a great opportunity to showcase, the whole community that is out there. For me personally, and honestly, with YogaSix, we are a place of accessibility and acceptance for everyone. And it is, in the fitness industry as a whole, should be inclusive, that everyone should feel welcome. So for us, it really is making sure that, we can really rally that. To Martin's point, it's more than just 1 month, in my opinion. We really want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable throughout the entire year. But for us, and for myself included, Pride Month really means about just, feeling more confident, being more comfortable, accepting one another, putting more education behind everything that is going on out there, and showcasing and celebrating all the love that is truthfully out there for everyone. So
that's awesome. Yeah, look, I definitely understand your point. Every time I see some sort of holiday or some sort of special month for certain groups of folks, I often think that, and you guys are marketing folks, so you guys are marketing gurus, so you understand that. But I guess it's got to be amazing just for awareness overall.
You think about the evolution, especially like myself growing up. The acceptance from back then to where it is now. It's amazing to see. So, not to mitigate all the things that have happened in the time past. So it is amazing to see how much we've evolved for sure.
Yeah.
And as a consumer, it does change where I spend my money. It really does. When I know that a company is supportive of the gay community, it changes my spending habits. It really does. Just as a consumer, if I'm, watching TV and this will happen ever so often where, it's not overt. They're not making a pride commercial, but it features a gay couple, my husband and I will look at each other and be like, wait, wait, hold on, and it means something, representation matters. So it does change my purchasing habits. So we'll take this month and make sure that people know that we do support that community.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I appreciate you guys sharing all that. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about franchisees. If the audience is prospective franchisees or there are franchise industry folks listening as well, but the majority of the listeners are people, again, exploring business ownership. And when you guys work with so many franchisees in not only the Xponential system, but in your systems before, and you're marketing gurus, so what is that secret recipe when you are putting together in your head the perfect franchisee, the people that you've seen not only in Xponential, but in the past? What are those ingredients for the perfect franchisee? And if you want to throw out, because both of you are fun, like me, I think a little bit, but if you want to throw out on the flip side, what is not a good franchisee? What makes somebody just not good for any franchise system?
Oh man, I guess I'll go first there. It kind of goes theme with Pride Month because, you have to be accepting of all. And that really does.
Good segue.
But, I guess the secret sauce to a good franchisee is someone that is with open arms, open ears, and is willing to adapt and listen truthfully, right? It's not going to be perfect. There is always going to be kind of a roadblock, like a pandemic that happens, that you are going to have to shift, but you can never lose touch. And you definitely always have to keep your foot on the gas, right? If you're going to question in every step of the way, especially when you're coming into a franchise organization, the purpose of being a part of a franchise owner is to make life easier for you. So, as we are here to support you, we only want the success. So as a perfect franchisee, it's really about listening, being open, following the play, having constructive conversations and, working through those situations as is. I guess the unperfect franchisee is the person that wants to think they know it better than us, although they bought into a franchise that wasn't theirs in the first place. So maybe it wasn't for them at the end of the day. So,
but now they're a genius because they bought into the franchise and they know everything.
Oh, every franchise definitely knows everything, but that's actually how we know more because we learn from them, truthfully. So, yeah.
Martin.
Yeah, it is that delicate dance, but honestly, it's follow the playbook. That's why you buy a franchise. Let us give you, honestly, the step-by-step, color by number direction on how to grow your studio successfully. We're all on the same team. We want you to be successful. We are a royalty-based business, right? So we want you to make money so we can make money. Do we let you? I always say it's color by number, but we will give you opportunities to color outside the lines. We will learn and we will grow from you. StretchLab, we're a monthly membership model. So we were initially just selling 4 times a month or 8 times a month memberships. And then it was listening to the field and taking that feedback where we created our family plan that is 12 times a month that you can share between a household. So things will change and evolve over time when franchisees are bringing things up and respectfully and making suggestions. And nothing's off the table. But honestly, it really is just follow that playbook and try to execute everything that we are putting out. And we know it's a lot. We try to be respectful of your time, but it is just really follow that playbook.
Love it. So let me kind of redirect on that last question. If you were both going to think in your respective brands about the top 2 or 3 franchisees, without naming names, what do they have in common? The best franchisees in your system, what do they have in common? Martin, you first on this one.
Yeah, they're great operators and they are good motivators. They are incredibly passionate about their business. They're running the business, not the numbers, right? So StretchLab, we are a service organization. We are a one-on-one assisted stretching concept. And that really starts with the people inside the building. There's no gimmicks. There's no crazy machinery. It is about that relationship that we're building. So a good franchisee understands that, builds and motivates a really good staff, right? So people really will buy buy the service, but they're buying the people behind the counter, right? Or the people with them on that bench as well. So a really good franchisee motivates their team and follows the playbook, of course, right? But they are having those daily, weekly, monthly meeting rhythms, motivating their team and operating the business and not necessarily from the numbers. They understand that the money comes and goes, right? And the money will come, but they have to have that really nice foundation of solid operations and executing 100%.
Martin, one little redirect on that. If you were thinking of the top 2 or 3 franchisees, what were their occupations prior to joining, in your case, StretchLab?
You know, what's interesting is we have a lot of corporate burnout franchisees, right? And then we have a lot of medical device salespeople drug reps, right? So at their core, I always say, when Xponential throws our big convention, right? You can kind of tell what owner comes from what brand, right? So when you see somebody, you're like, oh, they own a Pure Barre. Oh,
really?
They have a YogaSix. Yes, everybody kind of has a look. But StretchLab, we don't have a look. At our core, our really great franchisees just want to help people. So when we have that person who dedicated their life to medical device sales because they want to help save lives, they want to help people live a better life, they make a fantastic StretchLab franchisee where at their core, they're just trying to help people. And that really is what unifies all of our franchise owners, that it takes a special person, right? Who wants to build the studio where we are inviting people in, give us your body and we're going to try to fix you, right? So we never have franchise owners who are evaluating a StretchLab and a janitorial service, right?
Yeah.
That's a different mindset. So we really do have people at their core who want to help people. And that's really fantastic.
I love it. All right, Nate, your turn.
Yeah, I mean, our best franchisees at the end of the day truthfully believe in, our brand pillars, which was being energizing, empowering, fun, providing a yoga concept that is accessible to everyone, and believe in the product, right? They want to bring yoga to the masses. They want to show all the benefits. They want to build community at the end of the day, truthfully. So to Martin's point, they're, operating the business, not necessarily looking at the numbers, but the passion is there. And that's really what is driving the business and growing it, right? The culture, having a great team, and really being that support system and that leader to all their staff there, so that they actually believe like, wow, I really enjoy working here. I really love coming here every day. I love that there's so many people that are coming into our studio class after class and really enjoying feeling better than when they first walked in. So it's awesome every time I can get out to a studio, you see a room full of 40 people in a class and everyone is walking out with smiles, where some are coming with their frowns upside down and all those things like that. So truthfully, It is just believing in the product and really building that culture. So that way, obviously, that will help grow your business at the end of the day. So,
and how about the top 3 or so franchisees when you think of what their past occupation was prior to joining YogaSix? What did they do before in their previous life?
Yeah, I mean, to Martin's point earlier, a majority of them are from a corporate burnout, but they wanted to provide something better to their community. They see there's not that type of yoga that is necessarily in the market, but for the majority, it's either corporations. Some are health and wellness, not necessarily medical devices, and some also do have a fitness background also. But for the majority, it really is those that have a passion for yoga, really wanted to have something for themselves, came from a corporation or something that was just burning them out, and they definitely wanted to give back to their community. So.
Love it. So before we get to final thoughts, Nate, you tipped me off that Martin would probably want to sing for us. Is that Martin?
It's funny. You will see that we are 2 different types of LGBTQI members for sure.
Martin, you have the microphone for a moment.
I do not sing. For sure not. I will let Martin do that. I'll do the jazz hands for him.
Oh my goodness. You know what? We couldn't agree on my appearance fee, so I can't, unfortunately.
No worries. We'll have to have you back, and we'll do it in round 2. But so let's final thoughts from both of you, gentlemen. Anything you'd like to share before we sign off for today?
If anyone out there is really thinking about, is franchising right for me? Is this a good purchase? And really just be asking the questions about that ongoing support. And that is really, at the end of the day, what's most important and why you buy into a franchise system. We work tirelessly every single day to make sure we're providing that support, that structure, that training to make you successful. And then we are building, I'm working on building the StretchLab of 2030, right? So what do we look for in the future, and how do we make sure that we are talking to those consumers? So just make sure you're comfortable with the team, and make sure that you are comfortable with the amount of support. And Xponential is a really fantastic choice.
Awesome. Thank you, Martin. And Nate, final thoughts?
Yeah, to that point, definitely anyone that's out there looking for a franchise organization, Xponential definitely has it done right. We are definitely here to support, and, just be willing to listen, come with an open mind. Obviously, yes, ask all the questions, be comfortable with the team, but be confident that we are all in it together and that we definitely all want to be successful as a whole. So.
Awesome. Well, Nate and Martin, thank you so much for being here today. We were talking about YogaSix. We're talking about StretchLab, Xponential Fitness. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for listening today. Please like, follow, and subscribe. This is Lance Graulich. Until next time.